On today's episode of Burst Mode, we're going to be discussing the brand new Canon EOS R mirrorless camera, and then discussing the latest rumored specs from the Fujifilm X-T3. All that and more right here on Burst Mode. All right, hello everyone, and welcome to Burst Mode Episode 4. My name is Eric Marks, and as always, here with my co-host, Mr. Joseph Wood. And this morning, we have a new camera.
New camera.
Yeah, we've had a lot of new cameras lately.
My goodness gracious.
Yeah,
it is getting crazy.
It is. So, middle of the night, Canon dropped their EOS R camera. So, it's looking, it's like you said just a few minutes ago, it's kind of a weird camera. Yeah, so what are your initial thoughts about it? Just looking at some of the specs.
Well, I was trying to keep my expectations a little low. Picture-wise, it looks like it came in really high. Mm-hmm. So it looks like it's going to be a really good, like, just photography, straight-up camera, right. Video. It's clearly not going to be. It's weird because it has the flip-out screen, which everybody's been wanting on the full-frame mirrorless.
Yes, finally.
Yeah, and so, but then it's got 4K 30, mm-hmm. and it only does log or 10-bit through external recorders, so it would be nice if that was internal. And then 1080 120 is not there. It's 720 120, which
because
is
it's Canon.
Because it's Canon.
They always have to throw in something like that.
And then the thing that Canon Rumors was hyping up was this was going to be a $1,900 body. So I was like, oh, this is really going to be possibly within my price range. With a kit lens, it might be less than the Sony and the Nikon. Nope. Body only, $22.99 with their kit lens, 24-105 f4, $33.99.
No, I was so surprised when you said that. So if I was thinking body only around $1,900, $1,999, like the Nikon, and then with kit lens, let's say $25.99, $26.99, something like that. Yeah. And not that their 24-105 isn't worth it or something, but I was just thinking for value for your money and compared to what everyone else is doing right now, that seems to make the most sense. But yeah, that's I hate to use the term that's expensive because again I know it's probably worth the money, but that is that's expensive.
Yeah, especially when so far the trend has been Sony and Nikon are like, all right, here's a lower end model for people that want to just sort of get into full frame, and then here's our higher end model for people that have a little bit more money, that want to get a little bit more features, more megapixels. So they kind of came in between those two. Yeah. And there's not really a low end, and there's not really like a high end. And so it's like...
Yeah, with 30 megapixels, it's just like a solid middle of the road. But the hard part is trying to figure out a good price for that. Because, the Sony A7 III and the Nikon Z6 are priced right there. Pretty good value for your money. And then they have their Z7, and then the Sony has the A7R if you want like a super high-resolution monster of a camera. So yeah, this is strange. 4K 30, like you said. Now I noticed they do have the 3.6 million EVF, which is nice. They still have the super high res.
Awesome.
Yep. Like you said, the full flippy tilty screen. Vloggers are gonna love that. But again, is this for a vlogging camera? Is this going to be way out? It's going to be way out.
Not be a vlogging camera.
The price range is just not right for that.
No, you can get a GH5, and not only that, apparently the filming is at their crop. They're like 1.7 crop, and so the filming is going to be lower than their APS-C, with like a X-T2 or something like that, or XH1 or
man.
It's not going to be a video camera at all. They clearly were like, it's just not a video camera at all.
Having a full frame camera for video is specifically what people have been begging for, and certain cameras will allow that. And it's like, why waste that big beautiful sensor and just crop the crap out of it to get 4K. I don't know what Canon. It's weird. Canon used to be like at the forefront of video in all their cameras, and of course they have like the C100 series and their cinema type cameras like that. But they need to bring some killer video features back in some of their DSLRs. And I remember when the 5D Mark IV hit, there's a big complaint about the video codecs and stuff for 4K. It just killed the camera. So. Yeah, I don't know. For video, like you said, it's just meh. For photo, it looks good.
Looks awesome.
The part, like I was telling you earlier before we started the podcast, that freaked me out when I woke up this morning was 5,655 autofocus points.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought it was a typo.
I
thought
did
it was gonna be
too.
like 655 focus points, but then several different places had it as 5,655. So
Yeah.
that's insane. And it sounds like this is going to be a focusing beast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got low light focus. It's got the dual pixel autofocus. I mean, it sounds like it's just going to be able to focus almost anywhere. Low light, doesn't matter. It's going to be able to focus.
And what's going to be when I start seeing the reviews come out, I want to know two things, which I'm going to try to figure out while we're talking on the podcast here with these specs. But the number one, I want to know how many of those 5,000 something focus points are contrast detect versus phase detect.
Yeah.
And then I'd love to know what the EV is, the negative EV that it can focus in, like the negative light value.
I saw that somewhere, I feel like.
Yeah, because I saw a rumor that it was going to be like, I want to say like -5 EV or something, or -6, which would be just nuts, because right now I think the best we have is -4. Which is still really, really good. But yeah, no, we'll try to look for that so we can update people on that further into the podcast. But yeah, those are the two things I'm interested in with the autofocus. But how do you feel about their decision to not add in-body image stabilization on this one?
I mean, obviously you want that if you can get it. I mean, the fact that Nikon put it in is going to be tough, because for them at least. Yeah. Because Nikon, I guess people were not really expecting the Nikon to have in-body, at least the Z6, and both of theirs have in-body image. It's always nice if you can get in-body image stabilization.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not going to really hurt you at all, then it can only help you, and put that in.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it's, again, I feel like everything in the camera world is controversial now, but a lot of people say you don't need IBIS for photo. IBIS, who in their right mind wants their sensor to be flopping around on an axis? But I think it's so refined now that it's, I've never seen someone, an issue saying, oh, well, because my sensor's on an axis, all my pictures are soft kind of thing. I don't think there's any problem with it. No. So yeah, I think that would have been a nice feature, especially considering the Nikon just dropped it in theirs. Again, that's not something I specifically would care about as much, because I'm not using IBIS on a tripod shooting landscapes. So I'm looking at some more pictures of the EOS R, or the EOS R, and I see they have that nice little like inky screen, like the Fuji X-H1 and the Nikon cameras. So yep. I like that. I like to see that trend now. I like that they're getting away from those like old like 80s screens that we've always had. Oh, so yeah, so I like that they're actually looking more and more aesthetically pleasing, and the technology looks like it's actually in the year of 2018. So that's nice.
Yeah, it looks like I said with a 1.2 lens, it can get down to EV6 focus.
Oh wow!
EV-6, but that's just with the 1.2
with the 1.2
lens on there, which is $3,000.
Yeah, gosh.
51.2. It's probably a monster camera or lens. It's
yeah.
probably incredible, but
man,
$3,000. That's more than the body, which is fine.
I think that's even more than the 56 or the 51.2 that Canon has for their EF mount. I want to say.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, don't quote me on that, but I think it is. And then to talk about another lens for the second, the 28-70 f2 is going to be the wedding photographer's cream of the crop lens. Yeah, that's going to be crazy, because then you get pretty much your workhorse 24-70 type lens, but with another stop of light added in there. You always see those at 2.8. So again, I'm sure you're going to pay for that lens quite a bit, but that's going to be an awesome investment for your wedding shooters.
Yeah, they're not focusing in on entry-level full-frame people.
That's right. Definitely.
They are clearly coming in at high-end. It's funny because on some websites, I think on Canon Rumors, I saw people in the comments like, well, I'll wait till the higher-end model comes out. And I'm like, I don't think you're going to get anything other than this. I think this is it for them, which is awesome, because it's got some really good stuff, but I don't think you can be waiting a long time. I think if you're waiting.
I was just about to say, how long does this person plan on living?
Yeah,
that's what I want to know. Do they realize they're talking about Canon?
So the 51.2L is $2,299. The 28-70 f2 is $3,000.
Okay.
And then the 24-105 is $1,099.
Okay.
And then the one that people like me will be able to afford is 35 1.8, $499.
Okay.
So no discount on that kit lens, pretty much.
Yeah, that's
for
crazy.
buying it with the body.
Yeah, and now, I liked Canon's 24-105 when I was shooting Canon when I was doing weddings for a few years. I had their 24-105L for the EF mount on my 5D Mark III, and I actually preferred to use that versus my 24-70 because it was just such a versatile focal length, and it had IS, so it was nice. So I'm sure this is going to be just as nice. I love those versatile zoom ranges, especially if the lenses are actually sharp. And pretty much anything like 5.6 on from the 24-105 was really sharp. Now you could shoot wide open, of course, all the time at f4 for weddings, and it just wouldn't matter. I mean, when you say soft, you can always sharpen in Photoshop. For weddings, you're not printing fine art, selling to galleries at huge amounts of money and doing some big 40-inch wide print kind of thing. But yeah, it's I don't know. Overall, I mean, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be with Canon's history.
No, so they got 3 adapters.
Yeah,
which is weird. That confused me at first, and we were trying to figure this all out just before we started. So their straight up adapter, I think, which is just an adapter is $99. So that's pretty nice. And then they have the control ring mount adapter is $199. And then the drop-in filter adapter is $399.
That's the one that's just a little funky. A drop-in filter mount adapter.
Oh, here we go. So $399 with a variable ND filter, or $299 with a circular polarizing filter.
Okay, interesting.
But why? I don't know. Why can't you just buy an ND filter or a polarizing filter?
At this point in most people's photography career, they're already invested in some kind of filter system, like a Lee Filters, Format High Tech. I mean, they have one of the big filter systems that they already have, the filter mount and everything. Yeah, so I don't think that's really going to catch on. I think that was just one of those things that one guy was probably just like sitting in the boardroom where they're trying to decide if they should add 4K or not, and they're like, "Hey, I have an idea. Let's one up
everyone else with their adapters."
That's right. Let's be the only people to do this, and the only people to ever do this.
I guess if you're thinking about, I guess it could be cool, but having a little ND filter built into the adapter,
it would be convenient. But
I mean, for $400,
right? Just go buy some filters.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you can get used filters for probably super cheap. So
yeah. So right now. And if you want to know like the best, in my opinion at least, the best like screw-on filter option, and they even have like a magnetic option now too, is a company called Breakthrough Photography. They sell these filters for really good value too. So yeah, if anyone listening to the podcast, if you want to know the best way to get a good value filter, if you're even considering this drop-in filter thing, I would just not get the drop-in filter mount. Go look at Breakthrough Photography. They're doing some really cool things right now for filters. Just to go on a tiny little off-topic tangent there.
Yeah.
So another thing is, which is, I guess I'm not going to say nice because it's normal and it should happen, but they have an actual battery grip that has the vertical shutter release and the controls on it. Whereas Nikon's, it just has a battery pack, whatever that means. Just
like an old Game Boy.
That's right.
Remember when you throw that massive battery pack on the Game Boy that would make it like 3 times bigger than what it already normally is?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so that's nice. They just have your standard battery grip with an actual controls on it. Nikon has a battery pack, so that's something nice. Single card slot. A single freaking card slot.
Single card slot.
It always comes to that, man.
Yeah, freaking, surely you can add another one. It can't be that hard.
It's not. I'm not an engineer, but come on. Even if I was just the idea guy at Canon, what? How could that not be at least the first thing? Like, look at the trend, look at what's going on. All these event shooters live by their second card slots. And not all of them. I know there's going to be that 5% of people that is like, who cares? I don't need a second card slot. I mean, I'm one of those people I don't need a second card slot for landscape photography, whatever. But I know it's so important to so many people that I talk to, and to miss that, especially in a $22.99 body, over $3,000 with the lens, to get one card slot. If this is aiming towards, event shooters, they might have lost a really big crowd there not doing that. I had seen something somewhere talking about the Nikon cameras, because I had made a comment on my YouTube channel about how I thought it was a dumb move to do one card slot. And someone in the comments shared a link or something and said, oh, well, Nikon's going to offer some kind of firmware thing where you can partition the SD card. So you have two different... But it's like, but still, what's the point? If the SD card fails, that's right.
The card fails.
That's right. Then both partitions on the card are going to be done. So that still doesn't...
partition your hard drive on your computer, and the drive fails.
That's right.
The drive fails.
Exactly.
It's not like half the drive fails.
I know.
And then the other half of the drive is fine.
Yep.
I mean, it's solid state, so it's likely not going to fail that much anyway. Your failure rate's already super low, but... it's more or less just built-in redundancy.
Yeah, you just want it built in. You just want a simple second slot just in case. And again, for wedding shooters, I totally get it, because you cannot just call up the family and be like, hey, can we redo that wedding we did last Saturday?
Yeah.
Do you guys mind? No?
Yeah, I've never used it. That's never really been a major point, but I've also never really done major, wedding shoots at all either. So I
think I've only had one card fail, and it was a compact flash card. It was one of those big chunky ones, and I got some kind of recovery software and got it all back the same day. So I mean, it wasn't earth shattering or anything, but I've never had an SD card fail at all, ever, and I don't think I ever will, because like you said, it's a very, very low risk. But again, going back to the single card slot, I think that was a pretty dumb move.
I mean, is it really that hard to put another one in there? I guess it didn't hurt them because Nikon didn't do it. If Nikon did it and they didn't do it, then they'd really be an outlier, and people would really be ticked off. But Nikon didn't do it, and they're not doing it, so it's like, who really cares at this point for choosing between those two? And the A7 III, it has two, right?
Yes. Almost all the Sony full-frame cameras, I think, have two now. So they have two.
X-T2 has two.
X-T2 has two. Yeah, and that's comes in at $15.99 when it came out. So I'm sure the X-T3 is going to have two. I mean, it's just a standard thing now. So I think to wrapping the Canon stuff up. I mean, there's a lot of it's good for photography, not so great for video. I think the most curious point to me is the 5,655 autofocus points. I want to see reviews on that, on how insane that will or won't be.
Yeah, I was reading on Sony Alpha Rumors. Because are all these little rumor sites owned by the same people?
It seems like it, doesn't it? It seems like
because they all have basically. So this has a link or a little post about the Canon, and it has pros and cons.
Yeah.
So cons, they say no in-body image stabilization, single card slot. But then it says it uses the same, quote, old 30 megapixel sensor from the 5D4 with, in parentheses, with more phase detection pixels added. So I don't know if that means they're all phase detection or if some are contrast or what, but...
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so, I don't know. Again, I think that it's a very interesting camera. I don't think, again, that it was anything... I know the Canon people were hoping for something groundbreaking, like it was going to be worlds better than the 5D Mark IV. But you have to understand they can't do that. They're not going to cannibalize their full-frame DSLR with this mirrorless camera. They just have to offer a good alternative. And it's funny because I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh, nope, not getting the Canon camera. It's just going to be a mirrorless version of the 5D Mark IV." But it's like, okay, the Canon people love the 5D Mark IV. So what's wrong with that? If you want to go mirrorless and you want a lighter weight camera, the Canon people love that camera. I don't know. Looking at the body again, how do you feel about the aesthetics? I think it's a kind of an ugly camera, at least if you want to talk about.
It's sort of like the Nikon. I guess the Nikon looks a little bit more mirrorlessly, visually, if that's a word.
Yeah, that's a word.
It's like it's at least it looks like a DSLR, but the top is sort of flat,
Yeah.
So it's sort of like it kind of feels a little bit more like a mirrorless camera. This looks literally just like a DSLR.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be good. I'm sure it'll feel good in the hands, and it looks like, looks okay. I mean, it's not like a Fuji where it kind of looks retro, and it's not like it's Sony where it kind of looks, like kind of futuristic, I guess you would say, or something like that. It looks like a Canon. It looks like a DSLR, but in a mirrorless size body. So
yeah.
I'm sure it'll be. It looks like the ergonomics look good as far as it looks nice to hold.
Yeah. Like the grip looks pronounced enough. But as far as I'm just keep staring at more pictures of it. But it looks like looking at a top-down picture of it here. I'm a little worried about, at least for my big hands and for just looking at it. It looks like the buttons, the way they're laid out, and the dials. It looks a little. Everything looks a little crowded, like a little close together. Like the little bulb button to turn on the LCD, the video record button, and the lock button. It looks like if you hit one of them, you would like just hit all of them at the same time.
And the on-off, the massive knob on the left side is just on-off.
Right. What the heck is up with that? Like, why could, I don't understand.
I think that was one of the cons that they listed on the... the dial on the left is just an on-off button.
Yeah. What if you bump that? I wonder how easy that is to bump or knock.
I don't know, but it's like that's a dial. It's like, what a waste of a dial to just put the whole left side of the camera is just on-off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, gosh, it'll be so hard. Like going from Fuji where you have like a dial for everything.
Yeah.
And then like tons of little. You can change anything.
Custom function buttons.
Yeah, tons of custom function buttons and little, dials and things that you can do. This just, I mean, I'm sure it'll be great, but I mean, come on, like, at least have some sort of this dial.
This little mode dial to the right, it looks like there's like a mode button on the top, and then there's a dial that you can actually twist. So I wonder if that's like a mode to choose aperture priority, shutter priority. And then the dial is maybe for shutter speed, maybe. And then they have I just noticed. Okay, so they don't have they have another dial on top of the camera, not in the front, like on the actual front of the grip. It's on top. Yeah. So that's okay. Does the
on looking on, they have a picture, I guess, from the keynote or whatever, and it says the EOS R specs. And one of their Canon's points is lightweight and compact size, but advanced feeling of use.
Advanced feeling of use.
Advanced feeling of use. Wow. I don't even know what that means. I guess maybe when you pick it up, you have this really advanced feeling like you need to use it or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
But I just thought that was funny. That I don't know what that even means.
It's just leave it up to the Canon marketing guy, Joseph. He's doing a great job.
Yeah. Gosh, when this was first coming out, I was like, you know what? For a minute there before, I was thinking, I could switch to Canon if this comes in at 1900 because you could have all the old lenses are all really good, but it's just too expensive. I mean, I guess technically I could get the body and just the standard adapter for about $23.99, and that would come in at a pretty good price compared to the Nikon with the kit lens, which would be like $25.99. Mm-hmm. So I could get the Nikon with the kit, or the Nikon with the adapter for 21 something, and then the Canon with an adapter for 23. That's still, I don't know.
It's going to be a tough decision. We're going to have to do a whole episode about that.
Hashtag Joseph's decision.
That's right. And then, but you're not going to have the Z mount if you go with the Canon too. I wonder what this. They haven't been marketing the mount, like the flange distance thing with the lenses, more light transmission and all that. But Joseph, it has advanced feeling of use, though.
It has an advanced feeling of use.
These Japanese guys. I wonder if they're. Did you ever watch Dragon Ball Z when you were growing up?
Oh yes.
Yeah, it's like that'd be great in the press release. They were like, when you pick up camera, you go Super Saiyan.
Super Saiyans.
That'd be awesome.
Goku.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm looking at the ergonomics again. Like to hold it, it looks like it might be okay, like you said. But the buttons and dials, it looks a little funky. I think it looks really crowded to me. Again, I don't know. I haven't seen the camera, in someone's hands yet. But yeah, it looks like it might be crowded for all the buttons for people with big hands, big fingers. Yeah, that'll be interesting. And they look kind of cheap. Like the buttons on the back, if you go to the back, they look kind of they look kind of plasticky and cheap, at least from the picture.
Joystick.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, I just realized that. But you have that weird, you see that weird little like long elongated button that just has 2 arrows at the end?
Yeah, what in the world is that?
I don't know. It just goes left and right. I don't know. Apparently you can only move your focus points left and right. You can't go up and down.
It's for people that haven't seen it. It's right next to the viewfinder.
Yeah.
Above the screen to the right of the viewfinder.
Yep.
It's like a left and right button, almost like you'd see, almost like an old Nintendo controller where you have the D-pad, but it's not the up and down. It's just the left and right.
Yeah, and it's a big long horizontal button. It's really long.
It's a touch screen, so you've got that. It looks like a good, big, bright, nice touch screen. So it may have the best screen of all the new.
Yes, especially with the flippy tilty function. Again, people are going to love that. So that'll
be really nice.
I commend Canon for doing that,
and they say like up here that like the screen makes it a perfect video camera for vloggers and YouTubers, and I'm like, no, they're not going to do it because it's too expensive and it doesn't have all the features they want.
Yeah,
so
they're gonna go grab a Canon M50, which looks identical to this almost, and they're gonna use that for vlogging because it's a great price. Or else they're gonna grab like a full frame or a full frame Canon 6D Mark II. I don't remember the price of that off the top of my head, but they're gonna grab that. I don't know. My official thoughts on this camera are I don't really have one. I just don't know. It's interesting to see. I wanna form an opinion, I guess, based on when I start seeing some videos launched, which I'm sure should be pretty soon now because they released this camera just a few hours ago.
Yeah, it looks like it's available in October.
Okay.
So it won't immediately be available. It looks like we'll get the Z7 before we get this. So
before the world ends, we'll get the Z7.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. I mean, once these things actually start getting out in the wild and we start to see like a lot of reviews, then we'll see. But yeah, I mean because I like the 30 megapixels. I like how fast I love the idea that it can focus in almost any situation really, really well.
Yeah.
Because right now my X-T2 will sometimes search in low light, and it's not even super low light. I mean, it's like searching when it's like, shady or something like that. And I'm like, I really wish this was a little bit better. So
yeah,
this is boasting the fastest autofocus, ever. That's really, really awesome.
Right. But yeah, I was freaked out when I saw the over 5,000. I was like, man, somebody's about to get fired for this typo. But no, it's true. All right. Well, yeah. So it's Canon and Nikon are in the full frame mirrorless market now. That's ultimately good. Let's see what else comes out. Let's see what they do. Let's see what Sony does next and what Fuji does next. That's going to determine a lot in the market and a lot of how people start making their decisions on what camera they're going to go with. Yeah. Well, speaking of that, shall we talk about some X-T3 specs that have been leaked again?
Yeah.
All right.
So it sounds like Fuji could be announcing it tomorrow.
Man. Well, I mean, what do you say? Fuji's just Fuji. They care about their customers. they give them free firmware updates all the time. They pack in awesome specs. So let's just go down the line some of it. So obviously it's going to be an APS-C sensor. Yeah, like 4 people in Hawaii that thought there was going to be full frame or something. I saw one blog post about that because I just Googled Fuji full frame just so I could get an idea of what was going on. It's like, it's not going to happen. They skipped that and went to medium format. Okay, so 26 megapixels, nice middle of the road there. The X processor 4, so it's going to be faster processing engine. Less than $15.99. Again, if that's true, it's going to be crazy.
That would be really, really easy on my wallet.
Yes. Made in China. Now, this is...
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, that's... I wish it was Japan, but whatever. We'll see. So, dual SD cards.
Dual SD cards.
There you go. Dual SD cards. A lot of people are going to be happy.
4.
Yep.
Backside illuminated.
That is right. See, ISO range of 160 to 12,800. Now, this is something, as a landscape shooter, this is something I was telling you about. I was a little disappointed. They couldn't get us down to 100. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's So something inside their bodies with the technology that's preventing them from doing this. But why can't Fuji get to a native 100? That's so weird.
I don't know.
The X-T1 and X-T2 both have native ISO 200, and this is 160. So that to me, that's a little weird. I would have loved to see a 100 or them to just be like, you know what, we'll give you 64 like 60. Nikon does or something. Yeah. So, 160 to 12,800 native. And again, the X-T2's performance is really great. And this X-T3 is going to have a new processing engine, so we can only expect probably a stop better in performance, which is great.
That'd be awesome.
Yep. 3-way tilt screen. So that's going to be just the regular, tilty screen, and then it'll have that weird button that detaches it vertically. Have you seen that yet on the X-T2?
Thing was?
Yeah, there's a little switch on the side of the LCD where it actually comes out vertically. If you want to put the camera in vertical orientation, it'll flip out from like underneath.
I was wondering.
Yeah, so it's not going to be full flippy tilty, but it'll have their little 3-way thing. And I actually used that quite a bit when I had the X-T2, so it was nice. Because here it says selfie screen, no. Headphone jack, yep. In-body image stabilization. Nice. Yeah, so IBIS, no on this. The XH1 had IBIS because that was more of your video camera.
Yeah.
And then X-T3 is not going to have it. And I'm assuming that's probably how a bit of how they're going to keep that price under $1,599.
Yeah.
Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, touchscreen. That's going to be nice to have a touchscreen. Let's see. Battery life, 390 frames versus 340 that was on the X-T2. So slowly increasing that. So here you go, Joseph. The phase detection sensitivity of low light focus is -3 EV versus -1. Yeah, so that'll help a lot. 425 autofocus points versus 325. Improved eye and face detection. Now this is what I'm curious about, because when I had the X-T2, I used their eye detection and face detection quite a bit for taking pictures of my daughter. And they worked good. Now in video, it fell apart a little bit. They didn't have an eye detection in video. Yeah, they face detect actually works pretty decent in video, but it only worked in 1080, not in 4K. In 4K, it all just went away. The focus was just crippled. So I am curious to know if they're gonna. So it is gonna be improved. I'm curious to know how this is gonna compete with Sony, because right now everyone loves the Sony eye detect. Yeah, their eye detect is insane. So
if you want to know how that works, go to YouTube and type in Gary Fong.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
He will show you how it works. He was the first person I ever saw on YouTube that was really, really using that feature really, really well. And I was like, oh, dude, that's really cool.
Yeah, I saw a video of him when I was looking into Sony stuff where he was at a wedding making a video, and he was like, okay, so I always bring the bride and the groom and the family
at a wedding.
That's right, yeah. And then he was like, I always start the day off by getting the bride and the groom and the family so I can preload their faces into my camera so that it recognizes their faces. I was like, man, this guy is really using these tech features.
Did he have his little Britney Spears mic?
Yes, and his solid color hats that he always has. every time.
Do you, sir, take this lady to dinner? He goes, all right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to...
So this is how this feature... Hey, can you hold the first kiss just for 1 second?
1 second, let me
change the camera angles.
I got a question from John in Tucson, so hold on.
That'd be great. All right, so... This is interesting. 30 on the X-T3, 30 frames per second with electronic shutter mode in 1.25 crop mode.
That's insane.
With blackout-free EVF. So even though crops in a little more.
Yeah, about 16 megapixels, I think.
Yep. So even though it does that, which is fine, that's going to be 30 frames per second blackout-free. If that works as well as it's saying it's going to work, that's going to be nuts for sports shooters.
Or parent shooters.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, even just a parent at their kid's soccer game or something. That's going to be crazy. And then you have the 11 frames per second mechanical shutter. So that's
awesome.
Okay, now interesting. I forgot about this. So it's 11 frames per second standard, I guess, with the body. The X-T2 could only do 11 with the grip.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So it looks like we're going to have 11 just built into the body without the grip. Yeah, so that's going to be cool. So I wonder if with the grip, we're going to have something else native to the camera, like a 16 frames per second or something. That'd be cool.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah. Then it does internal
log.
Internal log, right.
That's awesome, because I've always wanted a camera that does log so I could play around with it.
Yes.
And so having this internal, like, 'cause I'm not going to get an external recorder
Yeah.
just to get log.
That's right. And some of them can be really expensive too.
Yeah.
4K 60. Hey, Fuji.
Hey.
4K 60.
Raising the bar.
I know. And 10-bit internal.
10-bit internal at 420.
If Fujifilm can do all this for under $15.99, in my opinion, crop sensor or not, they just slaughtered the crap out of everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
They're clearly like, Fuji's really definitely seeing, they're like, okay, people want everything in their camera now, because their old cameras junk at video, even if they did it at all.
Yep.
And now they're like, okay, let's try and get into this video thing. It's clearly catching on. And they just jumped straight to 4K 60, 420, 10-bit internal, log internal. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and the cool thing about Fuji is that they jump right into this because they have such good control over releasing out firmware updates. So they'll put everything into this, and then if there's some issues, they'll fix it with a firmware update like almost immediately. Like it's like Fujifilm is the only company that has a guy whose specific job is to go on blogs and social media and YouTube and listen to their customers, like actually hear what people are saying. You know, it's like they're probably the only company that has this guy that's like, hey guys, we're getting reports from Tony and Chelsea and this guy and all these big YouTube channels. You know, this is crapping out. This video feature is not working. Like he's actually listening to these influencers who are testing their cameras. And as you know, as usual, they release their firmware updates for free, and it just fixes everything or even adds new features. So
because it even says here under internal log, simultaneous film simulation, F-log simultaneous output coming via firmware update in 2018.
Yeah, there you go. See,
so it may not launch with internal log, but it will be coming.
Yes. Which is just amazing that they can just give you features like that. And then it has the 3.6 million dot EVF. I like that that's becoming a standard now, man. But by the time a few years from now, our EVFs are going to be just like better than real life. 1/8000th mechanical shutter. That's nice, same as the X-T3. Okay, so yeah, that's about it.
Well, and then down here at the bottom, this is weird. Pre-shooting function. So it has this thing where once you press the shutter button down halfway, it starts taking photos.
What in the world? Yeah, I'm reading that too. What?
Yeah.
Interesting. It's almost like a Fujifilm's version of a live photo from Apple.
Yeah. Yeah, so that sounds
weird. I want to play with that. That is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, because that could be awesome for people that have kids, of course. Whenever I try and take a picture of Finn, and he actually stops running for a second, and I go to take a picture, he's already running by the time I've pushed the shutter down. So it'll already hopefully get him at least sitting there for a second. So
yeah, taking pictures to 2-year-olds is impossible.
It's just not.
It's impossible.
It's not happening. I see all these parents because I like following people, photographers, and a lot of them are women, and they all have pictures of their kids. I'm like, man, those are really amazing pictures. But that's because they're like 5, 6, 7 years old, where you can tell them, hey, sit here for a second, look over there, do this. Yeah. They're not 2-year-olds.
That's right. And you can be like, hey, if you just give me like 5 minutes, I will get you an ice cream after this. Like you can actually bribe them.
Ice cream?
Exactly. I got all my best pictures of Scarlett when she was like a baby, and she could just sit there. She just she just sat there rocking in her swing or something, and boom, it was easy.
Exactly.
But now she just wants to run everywhere. All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap this up with what we think Sony's gonna do now.
Yeah, this is like one thing after another.
Yeah,
because you got Fuji announcing theirs officially tomorrow, it sounds like, and it sounds like Sony has at least a press conference next Friday or something like that, I think.
Yeah, it is something like that.
And so, do you think that'll be the A7SIII?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm thinking it's gonna be S3, and it could be what you were talking about earlier, which it could be a completely new redesigned APS-C camera, a new 6000 series. Maybe they'll call it the 7000 series. I don't know.
That's what it looked like on Sony Rumors. They said, I guess one guy got his hands on it or something like that, and he said it feels like a whole new camera. Okay. So it might not actually be one. It might just be so well done that it feels like a whole new camera. But yeah, that was the problem I was having with my A6000 was I was like, it's just so small. that it doesn't feel like a camera.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Felt like a
I
smartphone.
want a little bit more heft.
Yeah.
It smelled like it felt smartphone, and it just was becoming not as much fun to use. And it's like, okay, I get that it's small, but I think we're done with the whole like let's make it as small as we can, and I think we're ready to get it to the point where we can actually hold something significant in our hands.
Yes.
So
yeah, I love that because I've always had big hands. So when the mirrorless cameras came out and they were marketing the whole like we're tiny cameras, I was like, no, I love the mirrorless technology, but I still want something that feels kind of like a DSLR, you know.
If it can't fit in your pocket, then don't worry about it being too big, because it can't be.
Yeah, in reality, if you want a pocket camera, you're not a professional looking for something to replace your DSLR. You know, if you want like a good family camera, get something like the Sony RX100 series, get a rangefinder or something like that. You know, like the Fuji X100Ts, those are great for that. Yeah. So yeah, with Sony, the A7S III is what we're thinking. And as far as specs, I don't know. I don't really hardly ever go to Sony Alpha Rumors. I guess I should probably start since we're doing this podcast.
Yeah, I normally don't. But
yeah, but if I were to guess, they're going to do what they always do, which is they're probably going to blow everybody away with tech features. So they probably will do 4K 60. Who knows? Maybe even 4K 120. They're surely going to have IBIS. There'll probably be some kind of improved version that gives you even more stops. I'm assuming it's going to be the same body style. And they're probably just going to kill it with technology. But then to access it, you'll have to go through 150 menu pages. And then there you go.
Sounds about right. Yeah, because their lenses, their menu system, I knew it really, really well because I had a lot of Sony cameras. So I didn't really know how bad they were because I knew nothing outside of my life of Sony cameras. So I was like, dude, their menus are fine. I can go through them really fast. But turns out, no, they're not.
Yeah, I mean, if you get used to it.
Yeah, so you can get used to anything, you know. It's sort of like, what is it, a farmer who doesn't smell of all their animals and stuff.
Right.
Like, doesn't smell that bad. It's like, well, no, because you've been here for a while, so you're used to it. But yeah, I think the A7S III is going to be. I think it's probably going to be a video monster.
I agree. I think it's going to be amazing for vlogging. I think it's going to be great for actual, you know, not cinema, you know, in Hollywood cinema, but I mean, it's going to be great for people doing the film festivals and short films. I mean, people use these Sony cameras for all kinds of things for video, like the A7S and A7S II, and their low light sensitivity and the quality at the high ISOs they're insane on the A7S series. So it makes you wonder.
Like, at least one thing here it says is 4K HDR 60.
Oh man, HDR. Well, now
HDR.
that could be so. That's going to be an increased dynamic range 4K. Man, see that their tech is really cool. It's just you got to get. Yeah, they just have to sell me on the ergonomics and the menu system more. But their tech is really cool. And so I wonder if they keep increasing their tech. I wonder if the battery life is going to be improving. The Sony A7 III and A7 R III, people have finally stopped complaining pretty much about the battery life. It's reached a decent spot, and I hope it just keeps getting better. Hopefully, they're going to increase that battery life because they have 4K HDR, and they're pulling more processing power to the EVF and the screen, and then you got the touch screen. There's a lot going on in there for that little battery to handle.
Oh yeah, and not only on top of that, it's just a smaller battery than a DSLR in general. So it's like, it's sort of like Apple with their MacBook Pros. They're like, we don't know how else to put another more battery in here, so now they're just reshaping the size of it, so they're like folding it and moving it around and like forming it to all these different things. So with mirrorless cameras, it's like it's only so small, so it's like you can't make it much bigger. So I mean, I wonder how they're going to handle that in the future, because I wonder if they really are. If in the end, the mirrorless cameras are just going to end up becoming as big as DSLRs, just to fit the batteries in there. I don't know. Or I guess the only thing that you can really do is just make the software more efficient, and that's what they're going to have to do. But even then, it's like you can maybe add a little bit more, but I've never really had any problems with my Fuji. I guess it all depends on how you shoot, though. Yeah. But it's definitely nowhere near DLS. I mean, I remember when I had my D800. I mean, I charged it like 3 times. In like 8 months. I mean, it was insane.
Yeah, the DSLR batteries are they're awesome. And I love not having to worry about batteries. Like I love being able to just go out and have my one SD card, one battery, and that's it. I turn it on, I shoot, and I don't have to worry about that. So yeah, that's my
I guess
favorite.
the one nice thing about small batteries is if you carry multiple ones, they're tiny.
Yes.
Like my little Fuji battery is like, I have 2, and they're like this big.
Yes.
I mean, they're like an SD card basically. So I can throw 5 of those in my tiny little bag, and I wouldn't even feel that. So
that's
I
right.
guess that's at least one thing.
Now, this is just something that just hit me. There's 2 more things I want to cover that just hit me before we'll wrap it up because I forgot. I haven't heard anything about this. I haven't been to, I don't even know if there is a Panasonic Rumors, but I hear Panasonic is working on a full frame mirrorless.
Yes.
What the heck? Where did this come from?
I don't know. Saw that on 43 Rumors.
Yeah.
Or 4/3 Rumors, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
so I don't know if any specs are leaked or anything. I just know that that's interesting. So you know,
that's
a lot of people are entering this full frame mirrorless now.
Like why? Like why is Panasonic putting out I mean, I'm glad because I love competition.
Yeah.
But I mean, they don't have a full frame lenses.
Yeah.
So I mean, at one point the rumor was they were going to have a Leica mount, which wouldn't help because those are amazing lenses, but they're going to be freakishly expensive.
Yeah, that's just strange. I'll be interested to see how they enter the market. Maybe they've spent all this time working on full frame lenses. Who knows?
Yeah, it says new Panasonic full frame camera will have a new mount, not SL mount, and ship in March of 2019.
Wow, so that's kind of soon.
So I mean, it's like, hopefully it could be one of those things where Panasonic's like, all right, we're probably not going to sell more than Canon, Nikon, or Sony. So let's just do whatever the heck we want and go crazy with it and just see how much we can get with this first version and then go from there. So, you know, I don't know. Because it's not that I need 100 lenses. I just need a few good lenses. You know, I want like a 50 millimeter. I want a good medium telephoto zoom, you know, so if they just have 3 or 4 of those, then if they came in like at $1,900, then that would be really awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, and Panasonic has some good technology. I mean, they have some good features in their 4/3 cameras.
Got the good video.
They do. They definitely do. They need to work on their autofocus for sure. But yeah, they have great video. I mean, everyone that does long-term video, or no, well, I guess long-term does the Panasonic because they can shoot for 4 or 5 hours at a time versus the 30-minute time limit.
Right.
So I see people using those all the time for that. So that'll be interesting. And then I wonder, this is just another random thing I'll say, but I'm kind of a secret under the covers Pentax fanboy. So I kind of want to see Pentax come back and do something interesting.
Oh, Pentax mirrorless?
Yeah.
That would be pretty awesome because Pentax is one of those where their cameras are so nice. It's like at some point someone's got to start noticing them and being like, hey, we actually have a killer. It's like Paul Giamatti. Remember when he was the actor he was like the nerdy guy in every movie until one director was like, oh wait, this guy can act really well.
That's
and
right.
Threw him in Sideways, Oscar, and then he's in everything. So hopefully Pentax will get their Paul Giamatti moment.
There you go.
And get into the limelight and become a little bit more mainstream.
If that happens, I'm selling everything and going Pentax.
Dude, I remember looking at all their specs, and every time I've tried to look at switching cameras, I've always looked at Pentax because they're always more affordable, and they always had tons of technology in them. So it's like, man, I mean, their full frame, what was it, a K1 or something like that?
Yeah. That
came in at a pretty nice specs.
It did, and that got
price.
crazy good reviews too.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, that'd be interesting if they did. Is there a Pentax Rumors? I don't think there is.
I don't know, probably. They're probably are owned by all the same people.
I'm just gonna type in Pentax mirrorless.
Yeah, do it. So while you're doing that, the last thing I was gonna cover a minute ago after my random Pentax thing was I can't find a side view of the Canon EOS R, like a side view of the grip, because I'm really curious to know where the SD card slot is. Did they go stupid with it and put it in the battery compartment?
Oh, hopefully not.
I hate that because I have the Canon SL2 for vlogging, and that's where they put it. And it's so sucky because when I'm on a tripod and my big ball head is in the way, I have to unmount the camera every single time I want to take the SD card out and pop it in the computer. Or it's I don't know, it's just dumb having to open up the battery compartment every time for the SD card. So I'm trying to look for a side grip view to see if the SD card is on the side of the grip like it should be, or if it's in the battery compartment.
If it's in the battery, that would really
it would suck.
I mean, it's like I don't really use a tripod, and so it doesn't really bother me, but it just doesn't make sense to put it down there.
Yeah, that would still just suck. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll put that in the show notes if we can find that, because I still haven't found a side grip view for some reason.
So it looks like Pentax is releasing something during Photokina.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And this one guy on newsledge.com wrote this yesterday. Says, I'm not a betting man, but I'll take a guess it's something full frame and mirrorless.
Oh, well.
So either he knows something or he's just flat out just saying, I don't know what they're going to release. But
yeah. Well, since everybody's going full frame mirrorless right now, that's not a bad guess.
Yeah, because he was saying, okay, Canon and Panasonic, let's do this. Good Lord. Fuji X-T3 mirrorless camera leak. Seriously, what else? Oh, high-end Sony APS-C is nearing release. Nice of you to remember, crop sensor fans, Sony.
Yeah, it's about time.
Pentax is promising to release something during Photokina. Not a betting man, but I'll take a guess. Choose something full frame and mirrorless. Dude, that'd be if they do, this is like the greatest fall in photography.
And by the way, you're never gonna decide on a camera.
T3 I was released. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna. Yeah, that's good.
You're never gonna decide. You're gonna have Pentax, Canon, Nikon, Panasonic, Sony.
Yeah, it's gonna be a Christmas camera for sure.
Yep.
And what I'm gonna do, I think, I was talking to my wife and even my parents about this because I switch cameras all the time and they can't keep up with what I have.
Yeah.
I'm gonna create a contract and I'm gonna have to sign it that I keep this camera for at least a year.
There you go.
Or like maybe not a year and a half. I don't know. That's extreme. But for at least a year, I'll keep this camera. So whatever I get, I mean, right now I've got 1,500 saved up. So right now I got 1,500. And I'll be saving up a little bit more until Christmas. So I may have, 1,800, 1,900, something, hopefully more than that if I get a couple more jobs under my belt. But
yeah,
I don't know what.
It's going to be tough.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Right now,
I think you might end up with the Fuji, honestly.
Yeah, I think I will too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because especially with the fact that they're going to be releasing a 33 f1.
Yep.
And the 56 1.2, there's my depth of field that I want. And so, I don't know. It's right now it's between the Z6 and the X-T3.
Yeah.
Because with the Z6, it's like, gosh, if I get that with an adapter, I can get old G lenses all day long for super cheap.
Yep.
I don't know.
It's going to be tough, man. It always is.
I have no idea.
Yep. Or, Joseph, you could just, it's not about the camera. You could just go out and take photos with your iPhone. Stop worrying about it. It's not about the camera.
And we've got a new iPhone next week.
Oh, that's right. Man, we have so much to talk about.
We'll mention that a little bit when it comes out.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not a major player in cameras. But when it comes to the more people will use the iPhone than any of these cameras that we've been talking about.
Yes, so. And I am hoping, for my sake at least, for a 2018 iMac refresh so that I can finally upgrade my computer and not sit here and wonder if the second I buy the 2017, they're going to be like, oh, 2018's here.
Yep.
Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to be in Disney World next week, so we'll have to record another podcast, I guess whenever Sony drops there. We'll have to do something before I go so we can make sure we talk about all this stuff, because stuff's coming out every day. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. All right, well, do you have any final thoughts to wrap us up?
It's getting crazy.
It is, yeah. Those final thoughts. The camera industry's great right now.
Yeah, good time to be a photographer.
It is, for sure.
A lot of amazing options.
Absolutely. All right, cool. Well, yeah, I think the Canon launch is going to be interesting to watch over the next 24 hours, just to watch all the reviews, the YouTube videos, the reviews, see how everyone takes it. The freaking single card slot. It's the bane of their existence.
A couple of YouTubers being like, I didn't want to have to post this video because I hate criticizing cameras. Yep. But I don't know who's going to have their hands on it though. It doesn't look like a lot of people really
have even
used it at all.
I don't know.
So that'll be interesting to see. It looks like a lot of the Canon fanboys are like not too, like, it looks like they're like totally fine with it.
Yeah.
So far, which is weird.
Yeah.
They're probably like Apple fanboys where they will definitely overlook some of the faults.
Yes.
You know.
Yes,
Apple fanboys. I do that a lot.
I do that a lot too with Apple. Definitely.
I give them a break on stupid things. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't need 3G. I don't need LTE.
I know. Yeah. I was talking with you the other day about deciding on the new 2018 MacBook Pro, and I was asking a couple other people, a couple of my YouTube friends. They're like, "Man, but the throttling." I'm like, "It doesn't have throttling. It's an amazing computer. Go away."
You're a liar.
I know. They fixed that already. There's a Fuji firmware update.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. Well, that'll wrap us up. A lot of good stuff coming. Interested to see what happens with Sony, Panasonic, Pentax. All we can do is hang in here another week until next week. So next episode. All right. Well, cool. Thank you everyone for watching. And as always, we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.
Peace.